Goodness me, Richard, Joe, we're live! A bit overexcited on a Sunday afternoon. That's because we're in the marvellous company of Richard Wigglesworth and Joe Launchbury, everyone!
Yeah! Go, Wiggy!
Wow, what a crowd, what a crowd.
I know. Welcome to O2's Inside Line on the England Rugby official Facebook page. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for spending your Sunday evening with us. We really appreciate it. Joe, let's get straight into the Wales game. There's one thing that we all want to see. It's the offload. We'll take a look at it first, and then you could talk us through it. Talk us through what happened. Let's play the offload of Joe versus the Welsh. There you go. Look at that. Beauty.
What's happening, Joe?
Yeah, obviously got the ball out wide, and I think we had advantage. I think that was the main thought in my head. We had advantage. I knew it was probably a bit of a shot, and I think to give it a go, and I could sense there was somebody inside me. Didn't know it was Johnny, so I thought I'll put it there and hopefully it work out. And fortunately, it did. Well,
if you're going to offload it to anyone, it's the human cheater himself. You know, Johnny May. He's so rapid, but you look so composed as the whole move kind of developed. Is that the kind of person he is, Richard?
Yeah, it was only a fly half trying to tackle him as well. So he'd been upset if he didn't get it away. To be honest, yeah. It would have been a travesty.
But well done. And how many times have you seen that since the Wales game?
Not many, to be fair.
Oh, come on.
No way.
Come on. I saw you watching it on your iPad when you were watching. Silky smooth. Congratulations, boys, against the Welsh. It was a game of attrition, second half, but that's done. As Eddie likes to say, it's in the past. We're moving forward. We'll talk about the Scotland game a little bit later on. But it's been a tough week in the fact that the Georgians came down. Now, the Georgians, they are big men. Are they as big as you expected?
They were, yeah. So they ran out, and we were all like, "Oh, yeah, they're big," but I mean, thought they'd be bigger. And then the forwards ran out, so the backs ran out, and the forwards were all like, "Oh, not too bad." And then honestly, these blokes came out the tunnel. There was hardly a lick of air between them, all just bald, massive units. Yeah. And the forwards enjoyed themselves, I think.
I love that from a layman's perspective. I love the fact that you boys still talk about, oh my God, they are massive.
Oh yeah, he's still like under 12s. No, I want to see his passport. He's definitely not our year.
It's a classic. But Eddie brought them in for one reason only, is because they've got, undoubtedly, the best pack in the world. How has it benefited you guys, Joe?
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity for us to train against a team we don't really get to play against often, if at all, really. So we can do loads in training here, we can train against each other and get an idea of where we are, but unless you put that into practice against an opposition, it's sometimes quite hard to work out exactly where you are. So to scrummage against, like you said, probably one of the best scrummaging packs, was a great opportunity for us, and hopefully I think we've learnt a lot and we can keep progressing our scrum now over the coming weeks.
And how different were they? Were they different physically? Were they different in the way that they went about the whole scrimmaging experience? How was it for you guys?
Well, firstly, they're very passionate about scrummaging. You can see that from the way they celebrated every scrum, the way they talked in every scrum. They're very passionate about what they do there, and we felt by scrummaging against them we could hopefully get a bit of a feel for some of those nuances in the scrum and little ideas, what we can pick up along the way, and I think also test ourselves against a good pack, and I feel we came out in a good way, and hopefully that'll give us confidence.
So definitely benefited from it?
Yeah, massively.
Nice. And how was it watching all that?
Yeah, just glad that you weren't a forward, really, yeah. I was stood on the side of the scrum, just waiting, yeah, really. That was like, oh, thank God I'm not one of these boys, yeah.
But you've had a training session as well at Twickenham this week, which is an amazing experience because 10,000 fans turned up, 10,000 passionate England fans. How different is it? Because the training down here at Pennyhill Park, when it's closed doors, it's very, very intense. Was it as intense in front of the fans?
Well, it was a bit weird warming up and really nice and that, and playing the music, and you know there's a lot of people there. And then we got to the session, and it was like 40 of the toughest minutes we've ever done. So it was forget about anything other than your own lungs and legs and trying to get through it, really.
Was that kind of a peacock showing its feathers and saying, "Look, fans, look how good we are, look how fit we are, look how ready to go we are"?
I don't know how good we looked towards the end when we were absolutely dying, but a really good training session, intense, and nice to see everyone afterwards. Yeah, there was obviously great thing they've done every year now, getting the fans down. Yeah, so no, it's great to mix with them afterwards. Often you don't get to do that on a game day, so nice to do it in training.
No, you've definitely not had a rest week. You've definitely not had ultimate massages day in, day out, day out, day out. He's really put you through your paces in build up for the Scotland game. But there's one thing that I noticed during the Welsh game was that several of their players were all sat down, maybe injured or fastening the shoelaces but taking a rest. We were all stood up. And it looked awesome. You know what I mean? We looked superior and a lot fitter. It must be nice knowing that all that hard work, when you're absolutely, I was going to say something inappropriate.
Yeah, we're live.
When you're tired, you know, and there's a little bit of sick in the back of your throat, it's moments like that where you must feel that, you know what, all that hard work at Penny Hill Park really pays off, Joe.
Yeah, I guess there's a complete reason why we train, how we train. We try and train in a way and in scenarios which make it extremely tough for us, like Wiggy said. So when it comes to game time, we've trained that. It's not a shock to the system. And you look at someone like Sam's tackle late on in the game in the corner, I guess that's probably why we train how we do. So guys like Sam can get back and make tackles like that, which end up having a massive impact on the game. So yeah, we pride ourselves in that and how hard we train and how hard we prepare for the weekend.
All right, awesome stuff. So Leanne Shaw, quick shout out to you because you wanted to know what it was like for you, Joe, with the offload to Johnny. We covered that right at the top of the show. Quick questions. How intense?
Whoa.
All right, fans. You could have warned me. You always do that. What? Oh my goodness, Verity, thank you very much.
What's that
that
mean?
means that fans' questions have started.
You've already started.
Oh man.
She was late.
All right, here we go. Paul Davis wants to know, at 34, Richard, do you find it difficult bending down these days to pick up the ball? Paul Davis, that's quite an insult.
I can't repeat what I'd like to say to Paul before 9 o'clock watershed. No, I don't. No.
Right, good stuff. Ryan Buckley wants to know, would either of you room with James Haskell voluntarily? That answers your question. That answers your question.
No, I thought he was going to answer. He thought I was going to answer. Yeah,
There's actually a massive misconception about Haskell. He's in front of a group, in the team room. He's very loud, wants to crack all the jokes, and I think when you get back into the room, the audience isn't big enough for him. So he's actually very.
Saves it. He saves it. He saves it for the masses. He does. Yeah.
He's actually quite a good roommate.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to plug last week's podcast. We did an O2 Inside Line podcast with James, and we got a real in-depth look as to who he is as a person. Not the big James, the character who's trying to sell us everything, but actually James Haskell, the rugby player. It's really interesting. Take a look on iTunes or whoever provides you with your podcast. Have a listen. It's really, really good. Jill Maltby wants to know, what do you do to relax, Richard?
I've got 2 kids, so there's not much relaxing.
How old are they?
Time 7 and 6. So.
Oh mate, yeah, I've got 13 and 8.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this, and I don't really talk about personal life in the media. Today they've been looking at ponies. It's killing me.
Ponies.
Not just one pony, Richard. 2 ponies.
No wonder you're working hard.
2 ponies. 2 ponies. Oh my life. I said I'll help, but I'm not mucking anything out. That's as far as I go. Right, Terry Pritchard wants to know, who's the toughest player you've played against, Joe?
I think probably experience-wise, one of my first games here for England was against Ireland, Paul O'Connell probably. Yeah. Experienced guy, played for many years at the top of his game, so yeah, probably Paul O'Connell.
Richard?
Not a question I like that. No, I never like to give anyone a shout out with that.
No one? Because you're tougher.
Well, no, but you don't like to single anyone out.
All right, fair enough. I like that. Shell Fallows says, Joe, how do you manage to be so consistent in your performance? That's a good question. Thank you, Shell.
I guess I think you try and pride yourself on that. As captain of the club, I feel there's a responsibility on me every week I can't just talk during the week about how we're going to play and how we're going to prepare and then not do it myself. So I feel at club I've got to sort of back it up with my performances, and I think it's just in the way you prepare. I think a lot of players will say the same thing. If you feel you've prepared well all week, you've trained well, you've done all the stuff you feel you need to do to get ready for the game, then the nerves on game day don't seem to be there quite so strong because you know you've done everything you can, and that can then hopefully lead on to some stability in your performance.
He's a very composed character, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's
calm and relaxed.
Unflappable.
Yeah, unflappable. Nice, yeah. And you're like that in the pack as well, though. You always seem to be in control. You always seem to be throwing directions. It's a great watch, Joe. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Rod Constable wants to know, who has the worst dress sense in the squad?
James Haskell.
James Haskell, definitely.
Yeah, James Haskell, without doubt. What has been your favourite moment playing for England so far, says Mike Fahy?
I think I scored a try away in France on my first start, which was...
Did you keep the game jersey?
Yeah, kept the game jersey, yeah. That was pretty special.
Joe?
Yeah, probably first start as well, first cap for
Not the offload?
Probably not the offload. And maybe one of the Six Nations games over the last couple of years, probably winning the Six Nations.
Yeah.
I guess picking up silverware is probably what we play the game for.
That's why you built the shelf. Let's be honest. Helen Hornton wants to know, Joe Launchbury, how much did playing at Worthing influence your success?
It's obviously someone from Worthing, so yeah. Well, it was massive for me because I didn't really know exactly what was going to happen in the next couple of years from rugby. So I kind of went there on a gap year, played and loved it. So fortunately, the head coach at the time used to play at Wasps as well. So that was kind of how I got my route back up. So yeah, I guess I owe a lot to Worthing really.
Oh, nice. James Cousins wants to know, what qualities did you appreciate most from your coaches during your early careers, Richard? Because coaches have a massive influence on your...
I think anyone that believes in you, I think, is important early on. I think everyone plays the game because they enjoy it, and everyone wants to get better, and there's not many people that like getting shouted at, particularly at a young age. So anyone positive who encouraged you, I think that's the way to go.
Did you ever hide in your bib when you were playing rugby at school?
Hide in your bib?
Yeah.
Sounds like you did.
Yeah,
I did all the time. Yeah, but we played league, so I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not running. So, Ruth Hennington wants to know, who or what inspired you to start playing rugby, Joe?
I'm the first person in my family to play rugby, so it was no one really family-wise.
Really? So you found the game yourself?
Well, someone who worked with my dad, he coached a local team, and kind of thought it'd be a good idea to take me down there and play, and I guess that's how it started. But no real family, no one really pushed me down sort of to play rugby when I was younger.
Okay, Richard?
My dad was liked his rugby. I was football mad, but he was pretty keen to his rugby, and thankfully pushed me in that direction.
Are we going to have a... No, we'll not go there. All right, Matt Nib wants to know, if our knees... This is a good question. It's not on Facebook. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
This is a good question, and this is going to play with your minds. Okay.
Oh,
brace yourselves, everyone, on Facebook. Okay. Settle yourselves. Clear your thoughts. All right. Get everything out your way. If our knees bent the other way, what would a chair look like? How would we sit down? Blows your mind, right?
You'd have to sit on like a gimbal, wouldn't you?
See,
you're rubbish. She's messed it up again. She started late.
Verity! We should name and shame.
Yeah.
Verity, come
Show her.
Come on, Verity. Well, give me the hooter then. Let's name and shame
Let's
the
see
hooter.
if it works.
Come on. You
Come on,
have to pump these up.
Come on.
You have to really pump them up. It's on a wee.
Dribbling.
There you go. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Really appreciate it as always. We're going to go into the gym now and we're going to play rugby golf. It's very, very simple. We're going to give you 5 balls each. You've got to kick as many balls as you can on the numbered targets, and the person with the highest score will go top of the leaderboard. So let's make our way through. At the moment, I think it's Mike Brown and who else, Verity, at the top? Nathan Hughes.
What's
top
my
of the
handicap?
leaderboard. Oh, there's no handicaps.
There's got to be, isn't there?
There's no handicaps.
No handicap is
it's
your
a
skill,
level
Joe.
playing field. We've got 1 1,000 marker, 2 500-point markers, and 3 100-point markers. You've got 5 balls each. Mike Brown, Nathan Hughes, and Chris Robshaw are sat at the top with 2,100. Dan Cole's next. And then at the bottom, can you believe it, Ben Teo and Anthony Watson with only 1,000 points?
I can.
Who's going to go first? It's where the ball lands.
First land, first bounce.
off.
It can bounce off,
Yeah, it's where it lands initially, right?
Go on, Joe.
The only thing we've got in common is we both use our left foot. I think that's literally it. That's where it
Are you both
stops.
left-footed?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, my goodness
Lovely.
me. 500
500
points, Verity. For Joe.
Are we going one at a time?
Yep, go on.
Oh, that you.
Hugger off.
No, didn't score.
Oh,
Didn't
how,
score.
how is that ridiculous?
Didn't score. Joe again, yes, with the old 500, 1,000 points. So far for Joe. Richard. Oh,
Yes.
so close.
No,
so
that
close.
it. That's skimmed.
I had a little
It
grass.
definitely. We've got cameras. That's skimmed.
Oh, Launchbury's on fire! Launchbury's on fire! Did that miss, Richard?
That's got to have it.
Did that?
No way! This is ridiculous.
Missed. Oh, Joe, he could have gone top of the table with that ball there. Oh, all right,
Nice.
Richard's got 1,000.
No, I've got 3,000. This is unbelievable.
The first
This is
two missed.
unbelievable.
Oh, bit long.
Oh, bit long. Last ball. 1,000 points. All right, Verity,
Unbelievable.
who scored what? So, Joe, you scored 2,000 points, which puts you in second place. And you got 2,000 points as well, Richard, which means it's a tie. So you both go below
Joint
Chris
second.
We
Robshaw.
need to definitely have a look at that footage.
Equal with
There
Dan
was a couple
Cole,
of-
Elliot
There's
Daly.
a couple of skims on there.
Equal with Dan Cole and Elliot Daly, so you're in good
Subject to video footage.
analysis.
Yes.
Yeah. What do they call it?
VAR.
VAR. There you go. Right, quickly. Scotland are coming up. It's the oldest international rugby game ever. It's a physical contest, obviously, against the Scots. They got battered against the Welsh, but they beat the French. It's a tough game. It's in their backyard. What's going to happen, Richard?
Like I say, it's be a great game. One that we're pretty excited about.
Did you read the press release?
Training last week. No, we are. I think we're excited about playing international, but against Scotland, it might mean that bit more. But
intimidating place, though, right?
No. They all are, don't they? You can't say any international fixture away from home. The crowd's into it and big, aren't you? But it's definitely not a place that you're scared about going. You want to play in big atmospheres, and the louder the better, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Joe, what have we got to do to beat the Scots?
Well, I think obviously it's always going to start up front, isn't it? Really, I think you look at the way we've been playing over the last few weeks and where we're trying to win ball at the set piece. So that would be obviously important, as it always is. But I always love this game in the middle of the Six Nations. You have sort of a 2-week build up to it. It always feels like a massive game, and they all are in the Six Nations. But this middle game particularly always feels like you have a real 2-week lead up to it, and and hopefully we'll be ready come Saturday. And nice to put our mitts on the Calcutta Cup again. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. And if you haven't already subscribed to the O2 Inside Line Rugby podcast, then please do so. It's on iTunes or whatever podcast provider you use. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Woo! Have a good evening. Thank you, chaps.